Natalie, who lives an ordinary life and is unable to find her true love. Will she finally find it? You'll have to stick around to the end to see how the whole story unfolds. Hello and welcome to Comedy Recap. Today we will give you a recap of the film Isn't It Romantic? Spoilers ahead, obviously. Without further ado, let's dive right into it. The movie starts with young Natalie watching the movie Pretty Woman and enjoying her time. Her mother comes and reminds her that girls like them don't get a love and happy life like Julia Roberts in the movies, as they weren't as pretty as her. Time jumps to 25 years later, and we see the all-grown-up Natalie walking up and confronting her neighbor with the message that was attached to her door, which was meant for the neighbor. She then went to work and met with her coworkers.
Stop being such an idiot!
The most formidable architect in this firm!
Oh, listening!
She went into an office where the meeting was being held when Blake, who was a senior at the table, mistook her for being an assistant and told her to bring him another coffee. Natalie told him that she was an architect but still went to bring the coffee due to the awkward tension that had built up. She then went for a break in the park with her friends Josh and told him that she felt invisible to hunky successful guys as she wasn't pretty enough. Natalie then went back to work and told her friend Whitney to stop watching romantic films as they are always so cliché. Her friend Josh then invited her for a karaoke night, but she rejected him. Her friend Whitney then approached her and told her that Josh liked her and that she should be a little open while talking to men. Later, Natalie was traveling back home by train. She saw a man waving at her from across the train block. She thought back about her friend's advice and then got approached by the man outside the train, who started to talk to her flirtingly. The man then tried snatching her purse, but failed as she had a strong grip on her purse's handle. They struggled when finally Natalie managed to punch the man in the groin and knocked him down. She then tried to run away, telling herself why all the bad stuff always happened to her, and managed to slam right into a standing beam and knocked herself out. I guess you could say he was pursuing her. She now wakes up in a hospital and starts to freak out after an attractive doctor flirts with her. She dresses back up and leaves, only to gently get hit by a car. Natalie is having a car-razy day. Blake walks out of the car and gets stunned by her beauty. He then, surprisingly, starts speaking to her in an Australian accent, which confuses her even more. He then asked to help her and dropped her off where she lived. She got weirded out when she saw followers everywhere and everything smelled nice. She then went up to her apartment and realized that her old room somehow transformed into this huge, luxurious room filled with tons of clothes and accessories. She then walked into another room and saw her neighbor there, who was now all gay and supporting her in every way possible. He then took her to her work on a scooter. She arrived at her office and realized that everything was different there as well. Everyone now stared at her directly and greeted her every time. Her friend Whitney now transformed into an evil character who now hated her. She then met her friend Josh and explained to him everything weird that was happening to her. They then went for a walk in the park when Josh saw a girl choking on food and helped her. The girl turned and turned out to be very pretty. She then thanked Josh for saving her life and started to flirt with her. She then asked Josh to go for a drink with her, to which Josh said yes. Natalie then walked away and accidentally tripped when a cute guy caught her and told her that she was adorable. Natalie be trippin'. She freaked out again and started to run away. She then finally realized that she was stuck in a romantic comedy and couldn't even swear, as it was also PG-13.
My life has become a... Come on!
She then went back to the train station and confronted the same man who mugged her. Now every man was seemingly afraid of her. She then decided to jump in front of a train to escape this nightmare when a police officer pulled her back and saved her. He then arrested her and took her to make a phone call for someone to help her out. She remembered the number Blake wrote on the flower petals and gave it to her. She tossed the petals in the air and magically the number was formed. She then dialed the number and called Blake. He came and bailed her out. Natalie wondered about how she could escape this new reality and finally decided to fall in love with Blake for this nightmare of hers to end. She then flirted a little with him when he asked her out for dinner immediately and kissed her on the cheek. Natalie then went back to her home and met with her neighbor. She then told him about her date with Blake, which made him freak out in excitement. She then went for the date when Blake and her first had dinner made by an Italian chef. They then went for ice cream. They reached a shop that was closed and broke into it. They then sat on the counter all alone and ate their ice cream while discussing their favorite channels. They then escaped right after they heard the cop cars arriving. They were now in the middle of the rainy street when Blake finally kissed her, and they both went back to the house to sleep together. The next morning, Natalie woke up and realized that the fun part skipped over and over again whenever she initiated it with Blake. She then went to work and attended a meeting in which Josh saved her, stating that she was saving up the plans for her final project. Natalie went back and started working on her project while Josh brought food to eat. She started to wonder and told herself whether she needed to fall in love with Josh to finally end this nightmare she was stuck in. Blake then walked right into the room and started to kiss her, which made Josh feel like a third wheeler and made him leave. The next day, Natalie and Blake went to a restaurant to eat and met Josh, who was with the pretty girl whose life he had saved. All four of them met and later went to an event. Natalie arrived at the event and finally saw the opportunity to talk to Josh. She approached him and asked why he didn't ever ask her out. He told her that he did many times, but she had always ignored him. Josh and her girlfriend gave a speech and finally revealed to everyone that this was a surprise wedding party, which made Natalie freak out. She then met her gay neighbor at the party, who told her to finally go for Josh before he gets married. She later then met Josh at the karaoke party and decided to finally sing after having a few shots. She then stepped up to the stage and started singing when everyone, sometime later, joined her and sang and danced with her. She then walked on the beach with Josh and talked to him about the amazing and weird night they had just had. The next morning, Natalie saw Blake stealing her architect's ideas and presenting them as their own. They then fought and Blake left. She then met with her gay friend, who finally made her realize who she loved. She told him she loved Josh and finally went to his wedding to tell him about it. She then met Josh and finally told him about her feelings for him. Later, as she described it to him, she realized that she needed to love herself as she was for the nightmare to end. She finally went out of the church and found a car, which she drove and crashed into a tree. She got knocked out and finally woke up again back to her original reality. She finally realized it and went to the normal-looking streets. She then went to her normal-looking apartment and met her disobeying dog. She then met her neighbor, who surprisingly was also gay in this reality. She then went to her office and presented her idea in the meeting where no one valued her. She then met with Josh and finally told him to stop staring at billboards and start doing something with his life. Josh finally explained to her that it was always her reflection on the window that he stared at and not the model on the billboard. She then left and realized that all the opportunities also exist in ordinary life. The only thing that matters is the fact that you either take them or not. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.